Good day, everybody. Hi, good afternoon. Um, Thank you for joining us today into the webinar, How to Talk to Your Customers about D365 Finance and Supply Chain Management Business Value. And we will be trying to share some notes and maybe some best practices that we noted in the way with our partners. And before we start, so let me introduce myself. Maybe some of you already know me from other initiatives. So my name is Agnė Pelanienė. I'm head of Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain Management business line here at Companion. And really pleasure to meet you all today in our webinar. The agenda of today. So first of all, I will introduce a little bit our company, Companion, and who we are, and actually why we're talking about topics like that. Then we will discuss about the known things that customers are afraid when moving to Dynamics 365. And also other existing potential risks that customers might be not aware even that they exist, and usually they are hardly manageable in our processes and projects, and also how to address those risks, how to be prepared for them, and also how to add value with an additional education element. And before we start, so what is a Companion? So we, as Companion, we are a partner-oriented company with more than 200 employees around Europe that are supporting more than 1,000 dynamic partners in more than 75 countries. And of course, we are very much dynamics focused for NAV, Business Central, IX, F&O, Finance Supply Chain Management, the same as direct and indirect ISVs, and also CRM Power Apps. And actually all our journey already for years is actually in the best way to support our partners, to share our experiences, and if possible, to lead through the way in the quite challenging dynamics world and all the changes that we have. And moving towards our presentation. So first of all, things that customers are afraid of when considering moving to Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain Management. So before we'll move forward, let me ask you a few questions, and let's start with the poll. So I believe you're supposed to be seeing the poll. Yes, let's give one more minute for the people to think. Exactly, and probably as you all see in the poll, they're kind of changing the answers, and probably all those answers from the customers, right? We all in one or another way meeting when we starting sales or pre-sales process. Like, so first of all, it could be lack of knowledge about the possibilities, that is really software doesn't sell its value enough. Also, what we quite meet a lot when supporting partners around the world, that sometimes customers are really not ready to go or move forward because they have bad experiences in the past. So they think that they're still tired. Maybe they still don't want to move because for them it's too fast for the organization. And also, as you see in the poll, most of you answered that unclear migration process, right? Because everybody knows that something will happen, but how it's going to be implemented is quite a big beast through the way. So let's address a little bit all those questions actually that we have. And first of all, so that IX current version works perfectly, so why should I move? Yes, so as I was sharing in previous of my sessions, so usually how we're addressing customers with what kind of answers or what kind of support we're addressing them if we have answer like that. So first of all, we are doing our best to provide the purpose of the changing the current system to Dynamics 365. So explaining why it's always one of the most important steps, and it could be different reasons, but of course, customer has to be kind of explained. Another, of course, showing the benefits of the migration or upgrade and focus on the feature that are just recently released and how they are going to be relevant to the customer's processes and so on. So it's an educational element that goes together. And of course, presenting some new function that will automate the work for user and save her time in the future. So actually, this is how we're addressing kind of a fear, right? Or giving them a little bit of a candy that they would like kind of to go and move towards when migrating, like making the decision to migrate to the new system. Second thing, customers might say that they upgraded before and it was a failure. So how we or you as a partner would ensure that this project is going to be a success? So 3 possible ways actually to address this fear is, first of all, is show the plans prepared for the migration. And also how the risks are going to be managed and what processes and project management improvements have been made, what lessons were learned from the previous projects and so on. So pretty much be very open and honest to the customer, giving them some comfort in details how the project is going to be done. Then identify common points of failure. To provide stakeholders with the full details on how it will be managed this time, including details on how smooth go live will be ensured. So actually there are 2 areas of the project that we are all very aware. So actual migration process and go live. So explaining possible risks, showing that those risks are known and how those risks are going to be addressed in one stage and in another, it gives additional comfort for the customer. And the third is ensure stakeholders feel secure through presenting and discussing the full training plan to help them to know the new system. So training, as everywhere, is very important, but it's even more important to communicate to people when it's going to be held and probably even to plan few training plan before, in the middle, and after, for people to start feeling even way more comfortable. And of course, this communication is supposed to be done before even planning overall migration project. And the third, the cloud version is more expensive than on-premise. So this, of course, we hear a lot, and especially different regions have more sensitivity than others. But the way how we are together with partners trying to address, so first of all, trying to explain that Dynamics 365 is being hosted on Microsoft server, that is would eliminate the cost of buying servers and licenses, avoiding server room maintenance, maybe even hiring additional people to maintain all those servers on their own hand. Then also showing the benefits of cloud elasticity for the business to scale and grow on its own piece. And it's also very important for the customers to understand that they are not only being growing, but they also might be shrinking, or even they can be changing the processes, and depending on the needs, the cloud on the user base is very elastic. And of course, 24/7 support that they can get from Microsoft, actually having them environments on cloud. Um, okay, so this is already something that I named is quite known, and for that we might prepare, and we can prepare quite well. But also there are some potential existing risks that customers are not aware of, and even we are not really aware of. So let's talk a little bit about possible risks that customers might have uh, about moving to Dynamics 365. So first of all, the value is not clearly defined. And so for them, the questions, why? So why we are moving, and if we don't understand why, so that we are not buying it, right? Then the end users are not prepared. And if end users are not prepared, so they are kind of might add some roadblocks. They might start questioning. They might even be pretty angry sometimes that they don't know. They are afraid. They don't know how going to be working after that, plus including that they might be afraid that they might be losing their job. And then, of course, such type of partner is not a good partner, right? The third thing, end users are not comfortable with the current system. Sometimes people, when they don't know the value and they are very comfortable in daily life, so we are not very good in accepting changes, right? Because change means stress. We don't want stress. We want to come to work and know how we're going to be working, that tomorrow is going to be the same as today, and it's not really buying the new idea. The first thing is that the project managers are not enough experience to handle very big projects with a lot of stakeholders. So what does mean a lot of stakeholders? So it means their own team, your team, ISV partners team, maybe some external resources to be hired and so on. And it's the teams are big and they're becoming bigger in D365 projects area. So project managers are supposed to be ready to be really proficient and with quite good experience to handle so many stakeholders, and especially in ERP implementations. And the last one is lack of management support, because if direct management or even highest management, they don't know why they are investing into the innovation. So they might be that maybe they will not be against it, but they will not promote the change in the company, and we have to handle this risk. So if we would look at the most resistant groups in the company, this is already statistics that I'm presenting in the companies. So as you see, nearly 50% of people in the companies who are the most resistant for the change are mid-level managers. And we might ask why. It's probably because those people will be key users and they will be carrying the biggest amount of decision, the biggest amount of work, the decision about the process changes and so on. And if they have their hands full of roles, responsibilities in the company, this additional work is not really kind of selling itself for them. So that's why even this group of people is the most important for our project implementation. So they might appear the most resistant for the change, and probably this is the group of people we have to be ready to work with the most at the moment of pre-sale. And then the second biggest group is frontline employees, and I explained already before, usually those are people who are afraid that they will not know how to work in the new system, that they are resistant for the change, that even they are afraid that the system might replace their workplace, and they are rather staying with what they know than growing together with the system and becoming kind of a new specialist. And the least resistant group is executives and directors, because usually those people, they understand why they're doing the investment. They already planned it. They understand the issues that the company having. So those are very important stakeholders, but the resistance from that part of people is usually the least. What is on the others? And the others could be third parties in the company. There could be providers that new system implementation will be affected to the business, and depending on the relationship on those third parties that they have with executive and directors, we also might be suffering in the process of sale and pre-sale of migration project. So how to empower your customer to have control over the project, right? Because if we have resistance and fear, so probably the only way how we can manage this risk is actually to make customer feel ownership of the change that we would like them to go through, right? Or they about to go. But first, when we are going into the area of empowering our customers, we have to understand where they are when they will be going through the project or when they will be changing from old system to the new system into the cloud. So they will go through their change, and every change in the companies falls under the change management characteristics. And in the psychology, we have 7 steps identified that every single person, every single stakeholder, pretty much in a more heavy or more lighter way would be experiencing. Right. So what are those stages? So first stage is immobilization. So usually when we hear about something new, we say, okay, sounds cool. But it's not now, it's not about me, and maybe it will pass. Maybe it's not about me, right? Suddenly, when we understand that it's happening, so we go into the denial stage. So denial, it means I don't reply, I don't care. Maybe it passed through me, maybe it will not affect me, so I don't read emails and not replying them, right? When suddenly we realize that it will still be affecting me, so there's an anger because we are trying and holding on the past. We are angry that the change is happening, we don't want it, and usually conflicts start arising in the team. After, the next stage is depression. So usually depression when people, even if, for instance, in the organizations, people start leaving the workplaces because they cannot handle the change. Also, the efficiency of work is very low, and so on. After going from depression, the next stage is negotiation, when we understand that it's still happening. We are getting ourselves adapted to the change. So, but we're still trying to get something into our site and say, okay, so let's see what we can get, and maybe it will still be working my way. And this already getting out of the depression. So it's a mind state where people start talking. And after, when they start talking, we already can show them the beauty of the change that would be happening, and people move into the mindset of exploration. So they explore new possibilities, they explore new team members, they explore how different it's going to be, how cool, maybe something's supposed to change, but they are ready already to accept. And the change process in the psychology of the person happens when the acceptance happens in the person mind. And we should not be naive, because this is quite a long process. It might happen, I don't know, for some people it could be 2 years, for some people maybe a year. In average, somewhere between 9 months and a year. They're accepting the change, and also people are jumping from one stage to another. They are not very in sequence, because we can go into the depression, from depression to anger, and then back and forward. And why I'm talking about this, because for us as for experts, knowing what does it mean for our customer to change, or for people who are physically going to be working in a system to change, it helps us to address better the change at the customer side. So what we can do? So how we can make this process easier, how we overcome those fears of the customer people and different stakeholders that we're working with. So first of all, we have to have very clear message and decision why change is happening, and together with executive stakeholders, we have to build that message and very clearly communicate it to mid-management and to the people who are physically going to be working with the system and so on, for them to start thinking about the benefit for the company about the change. The second thing, every single person will be answering the question, what is in it for me? Because we have to buy in. We have to agree to participate in that change and support the company and support you into the implementation. So every single person that will be participating in the project have to see a benefit personally, not for the company, but personally. The third thing, when the change will happen. So for us, knowing when and what I will have to do in that process gives a feeling of security, because we're already a little bit in control. We know when we have to prepare, we see the plan and so on. So plan's supposed to be very open, very reachable, and very clearly communicated to all related parties with of the project. The third thing is what won't change, and why it is important, because we're talking a lot about change, but we are forgetting that people have to stand on something that is stable, that they can trust, and that this is not changing. So that means this is where they will be getting strength to go through the change of the process. So we also have to name it, and we also should allow them to kind of feel this level of comfort. The next is how we will gain new knowledge and skills. Everyone has a right to be trained. Everyone has to know the plan of training. Everybody has the right to ask for the training. So project managers also have to manage this part. Also, we very clearly at the very beginning have to list what might go wrong, because it's not the problem about, let's say, always something goes wrong, and we have to be very open about that, and we have to communicate about it. But knowing the risks as soon as possible helps people mentally to prepare for it, and when it happens, people are more focused on solution but not on the problem. That makes projects way more easier in their nature. And the last thing, measure the temperature. So continuously, every stakeholder has to know how are we doing, and even all the company has to have continuous management and project team updates, status, what's good, what's wrong, how it was handled, and so on, for people to be informed about the change in their company. Okay. And one more thing, that we always should remember, that we are not alone. And especially customers have to know that they are not alone, because lately, when working in different initiatives with Microsoft, I'm meeting some of the customers that they are even buying licenses and they are ready to move for the project, but they are alone. And the problem is that they probably would not be alone, but they don't know where to go and what to ask for. And actually even who to ask and what to ask. And then it becomes very difficult, because they don't know even how to formulate the question and where they can call. And they are stuck for years, even with some 20 licenses, for instance, and don't know how to start and kind of moving back and forward. So what kind of experts customers might refer to? So first of all, yes, you, the partner, and actually kind of holding the hand, giving all possible resources, ensuring that the hard skills are landed in the customer key users team, who will be supporting you in analysis sessions and leading their own teams through all their migration projects. So this is one part. Then, of course, professional guidance. I believe we all have responsibility to show some contacts, allow customers to talk to some professional people, maybe give them phone numbers, maybe some emails, maybe just invite somebody into some meetings for them to be able to ask questions and even to show them that you care. Another thing is accessible sources from Microsoft. Microsoft is investing quite a lot into the migration programs of cloud, and they are usually very supportive, and they really try to help if there are any pre-sale or any kind of guidance needed to motivate a customer to move forward. Also, being able to talk to the peers. So if customer has a project manager, so maybe some experienced manager from your team can have a conversation, how everything would happen, and just to bond together and have continuous day-to-day discussions about how the process will go. And of course, joining different communities. Communities usually help, and they give some a little bit like a pillow and the comfort, and even sometimes outside the hour cycle support in the project. Okay, so how to add value with additional education element, and I believe even from a number of different soft processes management, we are still talking about education element because educational element is not the last one. It brings in some basis to start communication from. Everything that we are talking about the new features, about the value of the system and so on, customers start understanding what we are talking about. So probably the question where we can get different trainings and support of the training to support our customers in the process. So first of all, we have a number of our company companion trainings, a number of experts that can help you in the process. Then in addition to that, we have Microsoft Dynamics Migration Program and Catalyst programs for the partners, that partners can refer to Microsoft to support them or even finance them to move, to help them to move through the process and support in building the message towards the customer. And then each location and each country usually has different Microsoft pre-sales initiatives to support partner channel in different locations. So this is usually what your PDM knows very well, because different locations have different funds, different yet differently. So it's very difficult to make a list, but at the moment, pretty much every single country has one or another pre-sale initiative to support partners to help to move customers into the cloud. Okay, so actually, to support everything that I was telling you today, so we have some downloads and some useful material that you can find under the tab handouts. Actually, so one is going to be some free ebook about the managing objections and implementations, and then just a free checklist about how to avoid the failure in the project. So I really hope that you will find it in one or another way useful for yourself. And then we are moving into QA session. Okay, so we have one question. What people from the customer side should be involved in the pre-sale phase for successful migration? This is quite common question that we receive from the partner that we are supporting when we are supporting them in pre-sale. And usually in the very initial meetings, we usually propose them to have a kickoff, because customers also have the right to understand what people will be supporting the pre-sale. So usually there's some kind of an IT manager is like a first person. And then in overall pre-sale phase, we're making the decision together with the partner sales and pre-sale people, and together with IT manager of the customer. Normally they're supposed to be process owners. Also, they're supposed to be people who knows why some specific implementations were made. Also, people who know what is the strategy of the company moving forward and would be able to express the need or the fear or I don't know, maybe give some insights. So teams from customer side could vary from 2 people to 10. Really depends on the size of the overall project. Plus, as pre-sale stage is very long, it could be that in different stages, different people would be joining. And of course, IT manager is the one who leads all the way and is pretty much is on the top of the things. Okay, so we have one more question. How to explore more knowledge on the ERP. So on D365 itself, I'm really myself finding very useful Microsoft Docs and Microsoft Learning Portals. This is knowledge if we're talking hard knowledge, right? On the soft knowledge part, I usually really like Microsoft Dynamics Vault, because usually they like some soft-related topics that lately bring quite a lot of value. Also, our webinars, we are trying to make a webinar, I don't know, like every 6 weeks. And those webinars are more focus-based, maybe on specific topics from hard to management. So please continue checking what we are ready to share with you. Also, including that even after this webinar, I'm pretty sure that there will be some additional posts following up. One more question we have. What would be the best way to approach if the customer has a lot of customizations in the current ERP? Probably I would propose you a couple of things. One thing is DMP program at Microsoft, and actually at least how we are at Compal approaching it. So we are applying internal AP, also Microsoft also has its LCS tools. We have something similar. We're just scanning the code. We're scanning the code and first of all, going into the conversation in the workshop with the customer, showing what they have. Why it is important to show? Even if you will decide to go out of the box solution, customer has the right to know what they will not have. So as I said before, they have to understand what will change and what will not change, right? So they have to understand where they stand and how much customization they did over the time. And if the customizations will make the project, I don't know, 5,000 hours, 7,000 hours quite big, it's quite a big motivator for the customer probably to get rid of those modifications, because at the end of the day, the modifications are money, right? So, but initially, scan the solution, show how much customization they have, and get in the conversation with the customer how many of those customizations they're supposed to remove, or if the customer is really ready to pay for everything in process to be re-implemented or moved from, let's say, X2009 or X2012 to D365, I believe we as partners are ready to help, right? Only that is pretty much going to be 1.5 year long project. So refer to DMP program first. Probably this would be straight away proposal, and see what you can get out of it, or you can always write us and we'll help to investigate the case. Okay, we have one more question. Could I comment from which IX version you have tools to move customizations, from IX 2009 and from IX 2012? If it's IX4, it's re-implementation straight away. And with IX 2009, it could be options, let's say like that, 50-50. Yeah. Yes. How to approach customer while in implementation phase? If I understand correctly the question, I hope so. If not, so just let me know that you are moving in implementation in different countries and different legal entities, but some legal entities are already supposed to be ready for migration, right? The overall pre-sale process or sales process of the migration project usually is from 9 months to 1.5 years. So it's long. So if you did implementation, let's say implementation goes 5 years, right? And some of legal entities already like 3 years, like they are in X 2012, but you think that they are a good option for them to start talking about migration. So first of all, you go to the IT manager, start presenting what's new, of course. So you're showing them where they are, then showing D365, what's new, and getting them kind of interested. Then you can say that, we have to make maybe investigation, maybe in the next 2 years or next 1.5 year, you have to already move because your X 2012 licensing is going to be disregarded and you will not have any more support. So let's think how we will. Because first year, what you will do, you just will analyze and you will build the budget. After building the budget, the customer has to approve that budget. When they will approve the budget, then you will start building the team. So the process is not going to be long. So even if the company, some of the legal entities are already they are on X 2012, but you think that they are ready to move to the D365. So start conversation now, because the project, then you will finalize implementing on the legal entities. The next stage of migration will already start for you. One more question. For the integrations within a tool to estimation, the thing is, there is no such tool that will give you the estimation for migration, because migration, let's say, tool will show you only IX part. Tool will not show you the second part. So even you can predict from the estimation, you can predict approximately what would be, but every single integration is going to be re-implemented, because this is what D365 brings together. So just keep that in mind. You can estimate application, you can predict from IX side what the integration is all about, but each of integration will has to be redesigned and re-implemented. So you're supposed to move it as a second stage of analysis and pretty much write design document for every integration, because they will be re-implemented. Okay, so actually I'm very excited. And I'm very excited from the such wide audience from worldwide, and so many questions. And even the topic, I would say, it's a management topic, a soft skills management topic. And sometimes I think that we're not talking enough. We are not talking enough about how we can manage fears of people in the project, how to make our life easier in the project, because we are rather good on the hard skills, right? But when it comes to the soft part, something might be overlooked. And if somebody of you will take anything from my webinar, or at least the part about their change management, right? Because the psychology of people, this is what we are working in every single project with, I will be very happy. So, and thank you very much for your questions, as we don't receive no more questions. So I just will invite you to get in touch. And if you will need any support, helping you even to assess the project, the same as I mentioned, the same as Microsoft has DMP program, we support Microsoft in that. Also, we support you directly if you need that help, or any kind of help in pre-sale or understanding how it all works. So feel free. And here also in the slide desk, you will find, of course, our contacts. And we normally support kind of you to show your best in front of your customers and to help to build additional value for your customers, for you, and to help you to manage the project with least possible risk project. So we are, I would say, worldwide. And of course, please Google us on www.companel.com, so you'll find all the details. And if somebody wants to meet us physically, so feel free in Netherlands, where our headquarters are, and our global office, and this is where I'm calling you from, and this is our Central and Eastern Europe also office is here in Vilnius, and of course we have representations worldwide, so don't be shy, contact us. And today I really would like thank you for being such a nice audience and kind of supporting me through the way. And by the way, before I go back, I still see one question, and probably we still have some time if you are okay. I don't want to leave any of you without answering. So we have the last question. What project methodology to use on the LCVS when you are working on an upgrade project? From IX 2012 to D365, we are not using the standard upgrade project methodology still due to this client needs. Actually, Elena, there is no methodology in LCS that will support your upgrade project. I am as old-fashioned as I sound. I still sometimes say to people, you know, our old IX 2012 short step is quite a good methodology to help us to move via migration project. Of course, there are going to be some different pieces that only for D365, but step-by-step approach in short step is way better than LCS, because LCS has very, very high level definitions. So probably Microsoft have some ideas for us, I hope so, but LCS methodologies are not really mature yet. So, yes, everything is going to be recorded. You will receive slides, and you will have handouts, and I believe everything is going to be shared for you from our marketing team. Yes, Elena, I'm very sorry for that. I know. So thank you, everybody, for being today with me. I really hope the sun is shining at your side, at least in Vilnius. It is. We have spring coming. And bye, and see you with me next time.